This story is perfect for helping you fall asleep. Throughout the video, I've used soft background sounds designed to gently ease you into sleep. That's why we've lowered the video's opacity to let your eyes rest as your mind drifts off. As the heat of the day fades and the sun lowers behind the 7 hills, Rome begins its nightly transformation. The terracotta rooftops, once blazing under the midday sun, soften into gentle ochres and dusty rose. Warm light clings to the edges of every building, casting long, slanting shadows that stretch lazily across the cobbled streets. The air, once buzzing with heat and chatter, begins to cool. It carries the scent of olive trees, dusty stone, and the distant sweetness of ripening figs. You can almost hear the city exhale in the open-air forums and narrow lanes. The bustle of the day winds to a gentle close. Market stalls are slowly shuttered by vendors who wipe their brows, count coins, and wrap leftover bread and olives in cloth. Their hands move with quiet precision, the kind learned from years of repetition. The murmur of negotiation fades, replaced by casual farewells and soft laughter. Children, sticky with fruit juice and sun-tired, are gathered up by their mothers, gently guided toward home, but further up the slope. Beyond the worn columns and marble steps, the homes of the wealthier citizens begin to glow from within. Oil lamps are lit by steady hand slaves trained to know just how much wick to unspool, just how high the flame should rise. The light is golden, never harsh, casting shadows that flicker and sway against the painted walls and mosaics. In one such home, a man in his mid-50s reclines on a cushioned bench, a scroll half-read on the table beside him. He's no longer reading, just watching the last streaks of pink and gold fade from the sky through his open atrium. A servant glides past, barefoot on tiled floor, to close the shutters slowly. Not yet fully closed, just enough to let the night air whisper in. You can almost hear the hush. Even the birds seem to soften their songs. The usual chatter of has mellowed, their tiny shapes silhouetted against rooftops as they tuck into their nests beneath tiled eaves and cracks in the old stonework. Somewhere in the distance, a water fountain trickles steadily into a worn basin, its echo bouncing gently down an empty alley. Let us follow the sound. We pass a laundrywoman walking home with her woven basket on her hip. She walks slowly now, her back sore from the day, her thoughts light and drowsy. The hem of her tunic brushes the stone road. She hums a tune, nothing urgent, just a lullaby she remembers from childhood. As she passes under the archway that marks her neighborhood, she nods to an elderly man who sits by his doorway, sharpening a small blade. They don't speak. They don't need to. The hour is too quiet for words. Even the Tiber River seems to flow more slowly at this hour. Along its banks, torches begin to flicker to life. Fishermen haul in their last nets. Some sort through there, catch by the light of the flames, the glint of scales flashing for just a moment before disappearing into baskets. Others don't bother. They'll sell what they can tomorrow and keep the rest. For now, it's enough to breathe, to sit near the water, to listen. Farther still, in the crowded districts where apartment blocks stretch high into the twilight, small oil lamps dot the windows like stars. The smell of lentils, onions, and porridge rises from open shutters. Here, families gather on rooftops and steps, cooling off from the heat stored in stone. Neighbors pass bowls of food, children dangle their legs over ledges, and someone softly plucks a lyre. The melody is slow, uncertain, more mood than song, and nobody minds. Let your mind slow with them. The city is vast, but it feels close in this moment, bound together by the shared ritual of quieting down, of folding the day neatly and tucking it away. A young couple walks arm in arm past a statue of Mercury, lit only by the fading sky and the candles someone left at its base. Their steps are slow, their conversation murmured. Perhaps it's about the day, perhaps it's about tomorrow, perhaps. They say nothing at all, simply walking in tandem as the city hushes around them. The sounds are different now. The clang of iron, the yells of traders, the barking of dogs are gone. In their place, the low creak of wooden doors closing, the rustle of linens as beds are prepared, the soft footfalls of those still awake, savoring the last moments before night fully arrives. And then, a breeze. A soft one, drifting through alleyways and under colonnades. It carries with it the faint smell of fresh bread from a late-night baker and the perfume of crushed lavender from a garland hung on a nearby doorway. It slips through cracks and folds and enters the rooms of those already resting, brushing their skin like the touch of a mother's hand. This is the moment just before sleep. The in-dash between dot in every part of the city. Romans prepare to surrender to it, not in haste, but with reverence. Because night is not an end, it's a passage, a time to dream, to forget, to heal. The fires burn lower, the voices grow quieter, even the footsteps pause, and somewhere, just beyond the walls of the city, crickets begin to sing. Let us close our eyes with them. As the lamps glow softly and the final rays of sunlight vanish behind the rooftops of Rome, the heart of the evening settles into place. It is time for Kenna, the Roman evening meal. Not a rushed affair or something eaten in passing, but a gentle, unhurried ritual that marked the true end of the day. The doors of a Domus Roman house are closed now. Inside, cool air glides over marble floors and clay walls painted with murals of myth and sea. The family gathers slowly, their sandals removed, their robes loosened. The heat of the day is behind them. Servants move with quiet steps, carrying polished trays, lighting additional lamps where the natural light has faded, and placing woven cloths over stone or wood tables. The atrium, central to the home, breathes with calm. Columns rise around a rectangular pool impluvium, its surface still, reflecting the flicker of flame from the surrounding oil lamps. Laurel leaves float lazily atop the water. The dripping of collected rain echoes faintly, like a clock counting time in sighs. At one side of the room, couches are arranged in a loose semicircle. Cushions of soft wool and dyed linen wait to embrace those who will recline for the evening. The matron of the house adjusts a small bronze mirror on the wall and gently combs through her hair with olive oil. Her fingers are patient, her motions practiced. She knows the pace of this hour, and now the meal begins, not in clatter or conversation, but in warmth. The first course is simple: olives, pickled vegetables, slices of cheese wrapped in fig leaves. A bowl of sweet dates is passed around, their skins shiny under the lamp's amber glow. Everyone takes a few, no one rushes. Eating is not yet the focus. This is about winding down, reconnecting, aligning hearts with the softness of the evening dot. In the kitchen behind the dining room, fire crackles gently in a clay hearth. A young servant stirs a pot of lentil stew, rich with leeks, garlic, and a hint of pepper. The steam rises in lazy spirals. Flatbread is laid onto a warm stone to gently reheat, and the scent of honey-glazed figs baking over the coals wafts upward into every corner of the house. Wine is poured next, dark, ruby-colored wine, diluted with water in careful portions. No one drinks to forget, they drink to enjoy. To feel warmth spread through the chest as conversation grows just a little slower and the body a little heavier. Silver cups clink softly against pottery. The laughter is low, round, and full of ease. One child climbs onto a cushion beside her. Mother, eyes heavy but still curious. She picks at chickpeas cooked in cumin and vinegar. An uncle across the table tells her a story of the sea, the kind meant not to excite, but to soothe, a tale where dolphins sing and sailors sleep under the stars. Her head rests against her mother's arm halfway through. The story continues. Anyway, slow and sure, like waves lapping gently at a dock. Even outside the domus, in the modest insular apartments where workers live in close quarters, the evening meal carries the same spirit. In a small room on the third floor, a candle flickers. Near the window, as a woman prepares her supper. It's modest porridge with barley and onion, flavored with a sliver of goat's cheese she saved all week. A chipped bowl rests on her knees as she sits on a low stool by the wall. A neighbor knocks lightly and is invited in without words. The two share figs and bread, tearing them slowly, dipping the edges into a bit of olive oil kept hidden from the midday sun. No need for ceremony, just presence, just comfort. From nearby windows, other scents waft: lentils, dried herbs, and the occasional sweet of roasted nuts. Somewhere in the building, a lute is being strummed in halting notes. A child's lullaby drifts up the stairwell, mixing with the rhythm of spoons, tapping bowls, and soft voices exchanging thoughts not meant to be remembered, only felt as the main course winds down in every household. Rich or poorer hush returns. Slaves begin to quietly clear the dishes in the domos, stacking platters with care so as not to disturb the mood. In the insula, bowls are rinsed with leftover wine and dried with the corners of tunics. And now comes the final sweetness. In the villa, dessert is offered with gentle pride. Honeyed almonds, roasted pears, slices of soft cheese, drizzled with a syrup made from pomegranate and wine. Fingers are sticky, but no one minds. A cloth is passed. Smiles are exchanged. No one eats too much. Just enough to feel the day's end settle into the body, like a hand pressing gently on the shoulder, guiding it to rest in the apartment across town. The sweet is simpler, dried fig dipped in wine. The two neighbors savor it like a delicacy, because in that moment, it is. There is nothing more needed. Voices taper into whispers. The child on the cushion now breathes with the rhythm of sleep. Someone yawns, not bothering to hide it. Another gently laughs and stands to stretch, his joints softly cracking like old wood in the night air. The evening meal has done its job. Bellies are full, spirits are calm, and the world has slowed enough that sleep is finally within reach. Lamps are dimmed. The last sip of wine is taken. Linen is folded. Sandals are collected. No one rushes. There is no need. The Romans understood that sleep doesn't arrive like a storm, it drifts in. Like a fog from the Tiber, slow and sure, and with each careful bite, each warm word, each shared plate, the mind steps closer to the edge of dreams. Soon, the beds will be waiting. But for now, the table rests in stillness. The candles flicker, and the city leans into the silence. Let us rest with it. Outside, the last of the twilight has melted away, leaving Rome in gentle darkness. But within its walls, the city is not asleep yet. In quiet corners and grand estates alike, soft flames flicker against damp stone, and the air is filled with the hush of water. This is the hour of bathing. For the Romans, bathing was not simply a matter of hygiene. It was a ritual of winding down, of preparing the body and soul for rest. A way to shed the dust of the day and step into the softness of the night. Let us begin in a villa at the edge of the city, where a small private bathhouse sits tucked behind a shaded garden. The sky above is dark now, freckled with stars, and the scent of rosemary drifts from the herb beds that line the stone path. A servant lights the path with a small torch, its flame dancing in the evening breeze. The master of the house, wrapped in a thin linen robe, steps lightly across the cool stone. The night is quiet, save for the gentle trickle of water from a nearby basin and the soft rustle of wind through cypress branches. He enters the bathhouse, where warmth greets him like an embrace. Inside, the walls are smooth and curved, painted in soft colors that flicker under lamplight, deep reds, earthy ochres, pale greens. Niches hold small bronze statues of Neptune and Venus, their expressions forever serene. From tiny alcoves, oil lamps glow like floating stars, their flames steady and low. A servant kneels by a brazier, tending the coals that warm the hypocaust beneath the floor. The air is damp, thick, with the scent of olive oil and steam. In the tepidarium, the warm room, the master reclines on a low marble bench. His robe slips from his shoulders. The servant pours warm water over his back from a clay jug. The stream smooth and constant, like a whispered song. The water wraps around him, flows down his spine, and pools at his feet before vanishing into narrow stone channels. His breath deepens, his muscles soften. The day, with all its decisions and worries, dissolves into the mist. A jar of scented oil is opened, infused with lavender and myrtleland, rubbed gently into his skin. The fragrance clings to the steam, creating a gentle cloud of calm. With a curved bronze strigil, the servant scrapes away the oil and sweat, moving slowly, methodically, not as a task, but as a rite. A preparation for sleep as sacred as prayer. Next, the master moves into the caldarium, the hot room tier. The steam is heavier. It curls around columns and drips from the ceiling in slow, fat drops. His body loosens further, sinking into the stone seat like warm clay. Eyes closed, he listens to his breath, to the pop of coals, to the faint sighs of steam against cold marble. The outside world feels distant now. Everything is weightless. He sits like a statue, carved into quiet, when the heat has seeped deep into his bones. He steps back through the tepidarium and into the frigidarium, the cold plunge. The water greets him with a gentle shock, but it is not jarring. It is refreshing, awakening the last parts of the body still clinging to wakefulness. He does not dive, but glides. The water is still, reflective, illuminated only by a single torch mounted on the wall. His movements are slow, deliberate. A single breath rises to the surface and disappears. He emerges calmer than before, as if reborn. A towel is offered, linen, soft from many washings. He wraps it around himself, steps out onto the cool stone, and lets the night air touch his skin. The stars above shimmer silently. Somewhere nearby, a nightbird sings. And now, the servant guides him back inside, to the chamber, to the bed, to rest. But bathing was not only for the wealthy. Elsewhere in the city, in a crowded district near the Aventine Hill, a public balnear welcomes its final visitors of the night. The street outside is narrow, lit by the glow of shared torches. A young laborer, his tunic dusty and damp, pushes open the heavy wooden door. Inside, the scent of warm stone and eucalyptus fills the air. A few others linger, older men finishing their last soak, a father helping his son into the cold bath. The room is dim, but the air is soft. He moves through the station slowly. He scrubs his arms with a coarse cloth, rinses with ladles of tepid water. An old man sits beside him, telling a story from the marketplace in a voice barely above a whisper. Laughter comes in quiet bursts, never rising above the sound of dripping water. In the caldarium, steam curls over his face like a veil. He leans back against the stone wall, eyes closed, arms resting on his knees. His breath comes steady now, each exhale a release, and finally, he too takes the cold plunge. When he steps back into the night, his skin tingles. His body feels lighter. The stars look clearer. His bed, just a few blocks away, will be waiting. But for now, he walks slowly, no rush. The calm of the bath clings to him like a second skin. In both villa and bathhouse, the Roman evening ends. With water, it is a ritual of letting go. A baptism not into belief, but into stillness, into sleep. The last drops of water slide down polished skin. The last embers dim in the brazier. The last footsteps echo through steam-kissed halls, and the night carries them all toward dreams. The bathing has ended, the meal has long since quieted into memory, and the streets of Rome now sleep in shadows. All that remains is the gentle preparation of the chamberware body. Mind and spirit surrender to the night. The domas is nearly silent in the hallways. Only the faint creak of wooden doors, or the soft brushing of fabric on stone marks. Any movement? The air is cool now, holding the faint scents of the evening. Lavender, beeswax from candles, a trace of bread from the kitchen hearth, long extinguished. A gentle breeze sighs through the shuttered windows, shifting the linen curtains just slightly, like fingers trailing through water in the sleeping chamber. The bed is waiting. It is not large, but well made, crafted of polished wood, low to the ground and resting near a small shrine to the household gods. A servant quietly enters, her footsteps muffled by smooth leather soles. She carries fresh linens folded in her arms and begins her work in practiced silence. The mattress is stuffed with wool and straw, plumped and patted into a soft slope. Over it, she lays sheets of smooth linen, cool to the touch, lightly scented with herbs from the garden. The pillow is made of goose down, stitched into dyed cotton. It smells faintly of cedar. She checks the oil lamp on the wall, adjusts the wick just slightly so the flame burns low and steady, casting soft golden light over the painted walls. A mural of sea nymphs watches quietly from one side. They're painted, eyes drowsy, their movements frozen mid-dance. The lamp flickers against their images like light against rippling water. On the bedside table, a small clay cup rests half full with diluted wine. Not to drink deeply, just to sip, if sleep delays. Its arrival, a small plate holds a few sugared almonds. Nearby, a sprig of rosemary rests in a dish, releasing its calm, clear scent into the stillness. Now, the servant brings a final touch, a bronze bowl of cool water and a soft cloth. The master of the house dips his fingers into the bowl, drawing the cloth over his face and neck, wiping away the last of the day. It is a gesture as old as time. No words are spoken. He dries his hands and places the cloth gently aside. The doors are closed. The shutters are secured. The servant all but one lamp and leaves the room, her steps fading into the hallway like a whisper. Now, only the sound of breath remains. The man crosses the room slowly. He pauses at the lararium, the small family shrine. There, tiny statues of the household gods, Standleries and Pinity's guardians of the hearth and home. He touches a hand to his chest, then to his forehead, murmuring a quiet prayer. Not for riches or glory, only for peace, for restful dreams. He lays a single pine nut on the altar, a symbol, a promise, and then he returns to the bed. The linen sheets lift gently as he lies down, the weight of the blankets folding over him like a quiet embrace. He settles into the stillness. Outside the window, the wind rustles again, this time through the ivy that climbs the courtyard wall. It hisses softly against the stone, never loud, never sharp, just there, a lullaby woven into leaves, a few rooms away. His wife rests already, breathing slow, her hair braided loosely down her back. A child, curled against her side, murmurs once in her sleep, then sighs and turns over. In the servants' quarters below, cots creak as tired bodies stretch and sink into straw. Sleep comes to them all in the simpler homes across the city. Chambers are less grand, but no less tender. A woman in a modest apartment lights her final lamp of the night. Her bed is a platform of worn wood, covered with folded blankets and an old tunic used as a pillow. She brushes her hair with fingers dipped in olive oil, then kneels to thank her gods, whispering names only she has. Known since childhood, she places a pebble from the river beneath her bedcham for good dreams and climbs. Under the cover, her cat, lean and small, curls at her feet in another room. An elderly man sits by the window, letting the air cool his skin before he turns in. He holds a wax tablet in his lap, reading a line of Virgil for the 1000th time. He mouths the words slowly, savoring them like prayer, then closes the tablet and lowers the lamp. His cot creaks. His joints sigh, but his heart is light. Back in the villa, the master now lies with eyes half closed. His limbs are still warm from the bath. The bed is soft, but not too soft. The air smells of rosemary and oil. The walls seem to hum with silence. From the distance, the faintest sound of a flute drifts through the night air. Perhaps a neighbor's evening music. Perhaps a dream already forming. He closes his eyes fully now. His breath slows. His arms rest gently on the blanket, hands open, fingers relaxed. Sleep does not rush in it, drapes over him like the night sky. Slowly and completely, the flame in the oil lamp flutters once, then steadies. The chamber is prepared, and so is he with pleasure. Let us now drift completely into the final chapter of our journey, a chapter of dreams, stillness, and deep, ancient sleep. This chapter blends the border between history and dreamscape, where the real world of ancient Rome dissolves into soft visions. All of Rome is asleep. The streets, once alive with the murmur of footsteps and the scent of cooking fires, now lie blanketed in shadow. The flicker of scattered torchlight has dimmed into silence. Shops are shuttered, gates are barred. Only the soft creak of a hanging lantern in the breeze or the rustle of ivy on stone reminds the world that it still breathes. And beneath rooftops, in chambers, both grand and humble, sleep wraps the city in quiet arms. A warm breath rises and falls beneath linen sheets. The stillness of the sleeping body is broken only by the occasional shifting of weight, the turn of a shoulder, the subtle sigh of limbs giving in to comfort. The mind, no longer needed for memory or worry, floats, and into that floating space come dreams. In one room, a young scribe dreams of scrolls, that write themselves delicate ink, drawing stories in ancient Latin, the letters curling and forming like leaves on a branch. He watches, in sleep, as the text unfolds before him, each word familiar and yet deeply new dot in another. An old widow dreams of her youth, the warm stones of the baths, the shade of her father's olive grove, the laughter of her sisters at the riverbank. These memories return not in clarity, but in sensation. The feel of wet grass on her ankles, the perfume of crushed violets, the sound of wind in linen. The city becomes a sea of sleepers, each riding the gentle current of their own night, and in this sea the divine still lingers. The Romans believed dreams came from the gods, that each vision carried meaning, a warning, a blessing, a message folded within a story. Priests and philosophers kept scrolls of dream interpretations. Temples were built where the faithful might sleep on sacred ground, hoping to receive visions in the night. Let us visit one such dreamer now. A young woman lies beneath a finely woven woolen blanket. Her chamber is modest, but peaceful. A single oil lamp flickers low near her head, casting soft shadows on the wall. Her breath is slow. Her fingers twitch slightly as the dream takes hold. She finds herself walking through a garden, not her own, but one from stories she heard as a child. Cypress trees rise like towers on either side. White marble benches glimmer under moonlight. Somewhere, water falls gently into a stone basin, its sound echoing like a lullaby. She walks barefoot, and the grass is cool beneath her feet. Petals float down from unseen branches, and then she sees him, her brother, long past, standing beside a statue of Venus. He says nothing, only smiles and nods once. The dream knows no language, but the meaning is clear. Peace, you are safe. Elsewhere, an old senator dreams of the Tiber, but in his vision, the river flows with wine, and the city is covered in blossoms. The temples gleam like mirrors. The gods themselves walk among the people, offering fruit and laughter. His feet never touch the ground. He floats just above it all, weightless and content. Even the animals dream. A dog, curled by a hearth, twitches in sleep, his legs moving as if chasing something joyful. A cat atop a tile roof purrs, caught in a vision of an endless sunbeam. The city's heartbeat slowed by sleep, pulses gently in all living things. Above it all, the stars keep watch. The Roman night sky, wide and ancient, stretches above the domes and villas like a soft velvet canopy. Constellations, known by their Latin names, shimmer faintly: Aquila, Virgo, Orion. Some still follow the myths that defined them. Others, perhaps, tell stories no one ever heard aloud. The stars seem closer in dreams. Some nights, it feels as though you could simply rise up and join them. Let us now drift deeper. The master of the Domos stirs once, then settles. His dreams are simple. He walks a long colonnade, alone, his sandals making no sound. Ahead is a door, slightly open, bathed in warm light. He approaches, not to enter, but just to feel the warmth. He stands there, eyes closed, in perfect stillness. In a chamber below, a slave dreams of home, a place far away, a hill covered in sun, and the voice of his mother calling to him across a field. The dream carries him gently, not with longing, but with comfort. In dreams, nothing is ever truly gone. Even Rome herself dreams. The stone beneath the city, ancient and full of memory, exhales under the weight of night. The temples sleep, the forums rest. Statues close their eyes in silence. All of it breathes together. One ancient body wrapped in sleep. One soul stretched across centuries. The oil lamps have long since burned out. The city no longer moves. Only the moonlight wanders now, tracing soft silver across floors, walls, and faces. It slides over rooftops, pools in fountains, kisses the curls of a sleeping child. It sees all, but asks nothing. And as the final sigh escapes into the quiet night, the dream deepens. You are floating now, no longer in a room, not even in a city. You are in the in-between, between history and imagination, between the past and the present. You drift gently, across tiled floors, under shadowed arches, past sleeping horses and still gardens. The air smells of stone and cedar. The wind is cool and the stars are kind. You do not need to wake yet. Rest, dear sleeper. Let the dreams of ancient Rome carry you.